I think there's always this friction between, security and productivity that everybody's dealing with right now. We were living in that world already, but I think with AI, that's like exploding, where the amount of technology that we are seeing introduced in organizations right now, it's crazy. And many people are just bypassing a lot of these controls and these reviews because it's AI. It's an AI project, and I need to move fast. I'm Jaime Blasco, co-founder and CTO of Net Security. One of the things we are seeing, when working with customers is just like the amount of agents that are, appearing in the environment. And a lot of the times when you talk to IT and security teams, they are like, yeah, we think we have a few agents here and there, but then when they get that visibility, they get very surprised how this is not really a centralized problem where, certain teams are deploying agents in the environment, but it's like every employee is just doing its own thing to be more productive and creating agents, in cloud code, in their laptops, but more importantly, they're doing that in cursor automations, they're doing that in Zapier, agents, they're doing that within any, SaaS tool, like inside HubSpot, inside, whatever. So like we are seeing just like the spread, the sprawl of these agents within enterprises is huge. And it's not just about like the agents themselves, but it's like these things are over provisioned, right? Like they may set up MCP tools that have too much access, right? Instead of just reading, it's also able to write, even though that's not being used for the agent. So like when it comes to reducing the risk of like these things going wrong, it's not just about the risk of like if that agent gets prompt injected, like all of a sudden, it has all that access. More importantly, you had to do the job in terms of like reducing the scope and reducing the risk of the access of that agent. And one of the most recent examples was the Vercel breach, right? Where, with the information that we know, it was because an employee at Vercel had granted an OAuth grant with a company called Context AI, which was a small company, and that was like an AI agent where you could add context through, Google Drive and email and other tools. So the attacker then compromised Context AI, and the way they did that was because, an employee downloaded some like cheat codes for a game, and then that was a piece of malware, an info stealer that stole credentials, and then the attacker was able to access the production environment for that company, get access to the credentials to use that OAuth grant for Vercel. Again, we don't have that specific detail from Vercel, but we believe that either in email or Google Drive files, there was some of like credentials, either API keys or other forms of credentials where the employee was able to pivot to an AWS environment, and then from there was able to steal, more customer data from Vercel. But, the thing is like the main problem there was like how a very small company and a decision that an employee in your company makes can put the whole company at risk. And we're seeing this over and over again with these, third-party breaches that are happening, pretty much every week right now. What makes this attack surface so challenging for security teams is really like many times they don't have the visibility of those actions, but more importantly, these decisions are really, in many organizations belong to the employees themselves, right? Where if you haven't configured your, SaaS applications properly, not just Google, but think about every single platform that you use, right? You can create OAuth grants in HubSpot, in Snowflake, in Salesforce, in any of your, Slack, GitHub. So it's not just Google, but like any of these tools has the ability to create, those integrations. In many of these platforms, you can block everything, but that's going to create a lot of work on your side because you have to review every single integration that happens. It's a very centralized process where IT and security teams have to contact those employees, do a review. Unlike employees are moving at the speed of AI today, right? Like where you want to move fast, and that things are not as scaling. So many companies have decided to just like open the doors to like any employee to be able to connect any application with each other. I think there's a middle ground there where you can put some guardrails in place where when employees are making these decisions, they have the right amount of information to really assess the risk. And more importantly, if an employee makes a mistake, or introducing risk in the organization, you very quickly can reduce that risk with automations. And that's something that we are very focused at Nuts.